Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Computer Wednesday, we're going to talk about an interesting update. Framework 16 finally gets NVIDIA GPU, which is a big deal. Let's dive deep into it. So what exactly is the problem that Framework is trying to solve? Well, here's the lot of people require high power laptop. Either they travel a lot, their requirement is a laptop, whatever the case may be, there are large group of people, large swaths of people who need high power laptop. The end, they cannot deal with desktop no matter what you do. So and what's the biggest difference? Like, what is the difference here? Basically, you go from iGPU, integrated GPU, to DGPU, dedicated graphics unit. So that's the key part. Now here's the interesting thing: the prices of these devices that has dedicated GPU is higher, like genuinely higher. And again, rightly so. Not only the manufacturer has to buy one silicon, they have to buy two silicon. So they not only have to buy let's say CPU from whoever, be it AMD, be it Intel or ARM, they also have to buy it from NVIDIA and AMD for GPU. So dual chip, and not to mention cooling. So there is a genuine reason for these puppies to be expensive. However, even with very high prices, they generally have very small lifespan. Meaning, if you are a light user, your laptop can actually last for years. Like you fine, you good, you got this. But the moment you are going into these sort of thing, they don't. And there is a lot of self-compounding errors into this. For example, these things are hot, so they run fan at more power, more full load. Consequence, they become gummed up much quicker than let's say a normal system. Second, if you are using something like this heavy load system, there is a very good chance you are actually doing something heavy on it, which means you would want to upgrade very quickly. Basically, you want, like, hey, 2 years, I'm feeling it. So there is a scenario. So right now, the trend that we have, where people are just making, people as in like corporations, they're just making use and throw laptops. Even with this sort of price range, it's painful. So fundamentally, and the gap basically between the launch of a laptop to e-waste is shrinking horrifyingly quickly. Now, given the fact that we only have one planet, we have to make sure that we do not pollute it with e-waste unnecessarily. So that's the whole thing. And let that be very clear. It's not that it's a new thing. People have known about this and people have tried to solve it. For example, this was the first attempt, and a lot of company got on board, be it Dell, be it MSI, be it some other brands also. They wanted to have this idea where it's like, okay, we're going to remove the thermal solution. There's going to be a board like this, MXM board or something like that, and they're going to swap it. It is going to be compatible. So it did not work out. It was just, they tried it for 2-3 years, and outcome was nope, it did not work out. So there is a problem. People have tried to solve it, but they have failed. So this is why it is very interesting. Now, Framework Laptop 16 is the first time somebody is trying to do something unique with this. Now, Framework 16 is very simply laptop 13 with growth hormones. So it is bigger. Now, the core difference which they have learned from all the mistakes of the past is that GPU requires integrated solution. You cannot have GPU and cooling as a separate thing. That was the biggest mistake in all previous design. That's why it was not what you call self-contained. So they are the first laptop manufacturer that are utilizing GPU as a module. Like GPU, like this puppy, it's a module. You can just heat this module, and only electrical connection and only screws you have to remove is basically 2 screws that are there. Now, they are removing all 4, so you don't need to remove all 4, you only need to remove 2, and you can just like remove it as a cartridge. So this is the best utilization of that. And the fact they made sure the airflow is completely independent. Basically, you can even have dead space here. Basically, if you do not need GPU, you can just have iGPU and SSDs there without an issue. And yes, you can do that. So fundamentally, they learned the lessons from all their mistakes, and it's like, okay, let's have GPU integrated thermal solution and completely independent air pathway, so it does not affect the laptop. So separating this part so neatly is the magical part of this. So thermal solution was always the limit. They have bypassed that. And having independent heat sinks makes sense. It makes it much easier to clean, which again, I specified, the higher power system you're talking about, like say normal average laptops are 50 watt to 70 watt. These puppy will start at 100 watts when you're talking about like the GPU ones. So you would need to clean regularly. If you can just yoink it out, blow air through it, clean it, put it back in, GG, everybody is awesome. This is awesome. And this also makes it easier to tailor. For example, let's say they are right now they're giving you, let's say 5070, and tomorrow they want to bring out something low cost, let's say something that is more for media consumption, let's say Intel Arc GPU, but does not require that kind of oomph. No problem, reduce the copper content here. That's the whole point, meaning it's a completely independent module. So they have the like, hey, reduce the copper content. Why waste money on the system if you don't need? And it goes the other way. What if like you need more oomph? Cool, add more cooler. So the fact that it's an independent system that gives them the wiggle room, that little bit of wiggle room is very critical for manufacturing. This is the problem they have solved. And AMD and NVIDIA both are making module. Now, end game is basically they wanted to make sure that you never have to touch this. Why? These things are die. They are naked die, silicon die. Problem with silicon is that it's fragile. It's a crystal, so to say. So if you screw them wrong, you can crack them. Like it does not happen with your desktop, simply because desktop have PCB, silicon die, and then integrated heat spreader. So heat spreader is acting as a buffer, so it can take a lot of abuse before you can damage the silicon. Here it's like you one wrong turn on that puppy, cracks it. So, and again, people have tried to have stoppers and all that jazz to handle it, but again, if you do not coat it properly with thermal paste, it will not work. If you over crank it, you will crack, which again, that's why it has to be not a human, basically not a consumer faced equipment. You can do it if you have a machine, completely fine-tuned item for this, go, you'll learn it. Customer should not need to do that. This is why they are making sure that chip is completely encased into this puppy, and this puppy only customers have to deal with this. This is designed to be a bit more robust, that can handle human interaction, and ta-da! And not only that, they actually proved it, because they started 1 year ago. The laptop was in sale. A lot of people have bought it 1 year ago. And now they have a GPU upgrade, which again, let that be very clear. Every company tried, never went there. They got it. So the GPU they are bringing is NVIDIA 5070, which is ironic. My first high-end-ish GPU was GTX. Oh yeah, this was GTX. Yeah, GTX 1070. So it was before RTX. So GTX 1070. That also had 8 GB of VRAM. So this also had 8 GB of VRAM, and the bandwidth is definitely much more much more capable. So this puppy has, in terms of AI processing, now everything has to be AI. It has 798 TOPS performance. That's good. That's not whoa. That's not like bad. It's just like okay, reasonable. Basically, it's a cut down 5070. If you compare it to 5070 that is in a desktop, do not compare that. I have no idea why NVIDIA never fixed this problem, but there is a very giant issue. Basically, if I'm giving you 5070 on desktop, almost all 5070 would be more or less the same. Like, of course, they will have some variation, but more or less same. When you're talking about laptop, they are not same, because many times companies can buy the silicon and feed it underpowered, meaning they will not give it enough voltage, enough amps to perform properly. So it will go into downclick state, and it's like, hey, I bought 5070, but it's not performing like 5070, it's performing like 5030. So that does happen. Or worst case scenario, you bought a manufacturer that actually gave the power, but they did not design the cooling solution to handle it. It's like, yo, you start the game, everything is fine, GG, and 15-20 minutes later, it's like, why my game is sluggish? Tada, it's starting to overheat. So fundamentally, that's why laptops GPUs are very bespoke. Like if you want to understand how is the performance, do not look into the parts, look into the exact benchmark of that exact hardware, because again, it's far more the problem is to keep everything in that tight envelope hurts the physical cooling efficiency. Without cooling, these things are not good. So 2 gigahertz is the base clock and 2.4 gigahertz is the boost clock, which again, why can't they go higher? They can go higher. It's just that they will fry themselves in those tiny heat sinks. So they're like, that's the limiting factor. CUDA cores are like reasonable, 4680. Like it's a reasonable now, like compared to my GTX 1070, it looks like a magic. And power envelope is 100 watt. Now this is the most critical aspect. Generally, because of the law in airlines that you cannot carry more than 100 watt hour battery, the moment you remove AC plug, generally most laptops will switch to integrated GPU. Why? Because if they did not, the battery will last maximum few minutes. So for that reason, they have to switch instantaneously. It can be done, thankfully. Software, kernel, all of those things can handle it. And to make sure that this can handle it effectively, they also have a MUX chip. Many cheaper laptops remove MUX chip. This time they have made sure that there is a MUX chip. And this can breathe for years. That's the critical part, because again, pay attention to the fan blades. They are very close to each other, meaning they will gum up very quickly. So cleaning them is a priority, and the fact that you can clean them without hassle in this, it's a godsend. Again, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more power it consumes, the faster the fan runs, the quicker they clog up, and quicker you realize this thing is not performing as it's supposed to. So 5070. And again, if you know anything about NVIDIA, you know NVIDIA is particular AF. They basically, even if you are manufacturing it, they will like, no, you will have to manufacture exactly how I designed it. And again, that's why like there are a lot of stupid design constraints on all the manufacturers. That's why EVGA just yeeted out of there. It's like, yeah, can't deal with this. So I have no idea who the heck was in framework, who lubricated NVIDIA, but damn. So getting NVIDIA to sign off on this is like, damn. So fundamentally, this is amazing. Now there are a lot of improvements, like specifically now they have to create a next gen main board. Main board now has a AMD AI CPU. Do not ask me who came up with that name. AI 7 and AI 9. It's a very bad naming convention. It is what it is. And again, the webcam has been upgraded. That's the whole point of having modular design. So I can easily expect somebody buying this 4 or 5 years down the line. By the time they would have created an even high-end, silicon on processor chip for this, and it's like, ta-da! Now you can upgrade it. Like you can upgrade the webcam in a laptop. That is doable. And the power envelope is decent for this sort of power. It's 45 watt for CPU, 100 watt for GPU, sustained. That's the whole point, sustained. It can handle that load. And that means you are looking at 160 to 180 watt of continuous power consumption. And GPU, because again, this is Mark II. Mark I is always garbage. So Mark II, they have fixed the one issue that they had is that the USB-C that was on the GPU itself, that was the best port. And because they did not have Mux chip on the Gen 1 motherboard, there was a latency. It worked, but there was a latency. So now they do not have the latency, and you can use that USB-C port for display out and power in at the same time. Like, is it viable to do? Yes, there are a lot of high-end monitors right now on display, right now in market that you can buy, especially from LG, that has onboard power charger. Basically, you plug AC cable in, it takes AC to DC conversion, and then it also has a adapter that is power delivery adapter, meaning you can have one cable solution. Apple made it popular and LG made it affordable. So right now there are scenarios where you can just have almost like a TV, you plug the USB-C cable in, done. No, you do not have to worry about data, you do not have to worry about display, you do not have to worry about power. One cable solution. So this can now finally support it. Mux chip makes your life much easier, and the fact that they have upgraded the display to basically G-Sync supported, that's also a good upgrade. And my personal favorite, now they have power adapter of 240 watt. Now, if you know anything about power delivery standards, you know this is the upper maximum. But there was a law by 2024 end, every smartphone has to switch to power delivery, meaning you can have your proprietary BS, but you must support power delivery fast charging. And every company did, including Apple, because EU fired missiles at it. And there is another deadline that is on 2026 end, as in like end of 2026, January of 2027, every laptop sold in EU, as long as it's below 240 watt power envelope, must utilize power delivery chargers. You cannot have like, oh, I have this custom plug charger. No. All of them. And yes, these things are backwards compatible with your smartphone. That's the whole point of USB-C power delivery. It works with everything. And again, they are going all in. If you have drill batteries, they are also working on that. It's like, hey, you should not require like custom BS. So this company is the first one they utilized power delivery 3.1. And on top of that, they are not cheaping out. They could easily give you 180 watt, which again, some Dells do, and you'll be fine. They're like, nah, let's go full 240 watt. Now, is it beneficial? Yes. That means this adapter has far more flexibility. You can just buy it and be like, chill bro, chill. Either your laptop bricks or this bricks, but if this lasts, you can keep using it. And every laptop will support it after 2026. So because again, 5 volt is the minimum voltage, and maximum is 48 volt. Why 48 volt? Going higher than that creates a risk that voltage can jump into your skin. And at that point in time, you can be kaput. So they want to make sure that voltage never goes into live voltage level. 40 is the standard that everybody is comfortable with. So below 48, hopefully if you touch into the positive and negative, your skin resistance should be like, yo, no. And what about current? Current is limited to 5 amps. If you do not have e-marker chip, the current would be limited to 3 amps. If you have e-marker chip, 5 amps. Why not higher than 5? Because copper cost would be too high. So this supports the full range of it. AVS supported, meaning you buy this, you forget about it. There is almost nothing that this puppy cannot have. Unless there is like some ludicrous laptop, 240 watt is more than enough power envelope. So I'm happy about that. And again, I think a lot of traders got into them. It's like, hey, yo, man, your laptop is more than powerful, but we need displays. Traders, I have no idea why, but they love display. I have 3 displays, and most of the time I only use 2, and this when I'm doing presentation. So I have no idea why will you need 4, but apparently they do, and they're like, okay. They rework the USB-C data delivery path, and tada, 4 display. That's hard to do on desktops. So 4 display support is now done. So a lot of minor improvement that makes your life quality higher. So what can we expect in the future? Well, getting NVIDIA on board was a big deal. Like, that's like, damn, who the heck did the lubrication? I want to meet that guy. So I have no idea how the heck that happened. And again, this brand is keeping the promise they made to the public. For example, when the laptop started, like I think 3 to 4 years ago, they did not have a module for full-size SD card, and they made a promise that we're gonna make it. And they started to make a YouTube series about it, almost like I think 1.5 years ago, where they're like, okay, we are working on this. This is how it works. And if you want to learn about how to make product hardware, as that is like for civilian use, look into it. Trust me, you'd be shocked how much you can learn from that. And they're like sharing every aspect of it. Like, okay, this is how we went, this is how the review done, this is what did not work, this is how we classify it, and all of that. And now it's available, $25. So I'm like, dang. So they're making a promise and keeping it. So in early days, everybody was very critical about them. Why? Getting NVIDIA was like, imagine EVGA having hard time and this new company framework getting NVIDIA on board. It's like, dang. So there was genuine reason for concern. And again, everybody wanted to buy it. It's just like, give NVIDIA. They solved that. And they're taking feedback from past model. For example, in their heatsink, the heatsink is good. It's just that people are not happy with the noise profile of the fan. So they worked on the noise profile, as in like the fans, if you look into Gen 1 versus Gen 2, they have different aerodynamic structure, meaning the noise has been shifted so it's less annoying to you. Like, it's almost like DJI. If you have watched my camera Tuesday video, I talked about like how DJI seems to be a company that actually listens to the customer. It almost behaves like this. Like, oh, it's a bit floppy. Okay, we're gonna reinforce it via CNC, and we're gonna have some different design that will give you the stiffness you're looking for. Boom, done, go home. 2.5 GB connector is also there. So they are actually listening to the customer, which is mind-boggling. And the most common criticism they have is that they are expensive. Are they expensive? In short run, yes. In long run, no. Flat out, like, no. Because here's the deal. If you're comparing it to like, normal use and throw laptop, you will throw the laptop. Now, no, I can use it. No, unless you are a very high nerd, most people throw their laptop. Not because it has become unusable, simply because half of time they can't clean it. Other half of time, battery is kaput, which it will be kaput no matter what you do. So battery, clogging, and again, minor issues like your display cracked and keyboard kaputted. And replacing these things, God help you. Like if you want to figure out Apple, just go into Genius Bar and see what is the price of replacing a keyboard. So fundamentally, the moment you stretch the time horizon beyond 2 to 3 years, like you take that time horizon and you slide that puppy to 4 or 5 years, instantly this starts to become cheap. And it's like, again, you and I have one planet. Jeff Bezos can leave this planet. You and I can't. So it's in our best interest to not pollute it with e-waste. And again, can they reduce price? Of course, if they have VC money, if they have like GG money, or if they sales a lot of unit, which again, I'm hoping that NVIDIA finally pushes them into that domain where they're like, okay, now we are shipping millions of units. If they can crack that threshold, then I can easily see next 2-3 generation they will give away from there that it's a cheap laptop, right? The laptop, the ethos is good, the hardware is as good as it can be, but like you can get better. Now, can they crack it? Of course they can crack it, assuming they sell millions of it. To sell millions of it, you want the best of everything. People will pay as long as best of everything. So best CPU, right now AMD. Best GPU, NVIDIA. Take it and go. So they are moving in great direction. I hope they sell millions of this. And again, there are some good rumors coming from basically laptop 12, which again is specifically designed to target schools. And if those laptops can survive school, which again we'll know in next year, then I think they can finally sell in millions. And then we can actually expect them to be cost competitive. But again, let that be very clear. Even with higher prices, let that be very clear. You have one planet. I have one planet. Creating poop into that, unwise. Because you're like, oh, you saved some money. It's like, bro, how about have a device that lasts much longer time horizon? Again, they proved it. Like what they said and what they delivered, they are matching. So this was my presentation on a happy note of basically framework 16's NVIDIA upgrade. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.